In a vast village nestled between hills and wide rivers, there lived a man named Amandla. He was a wealthy herdsman, known far and wide for his kindness, wisdom, and the size of his cattle herds that dotted the grassland like stars in the night sky. His wife, Nolwazi, was beautiful and sharp-tongued, a woman whose laughter echoed through the village like a songbird's call. Despite their many blessings, a lingering shadow darkened their homestay as they remained without children. "When will you give us a child?" the village women would ask Nolwazi at the river, their eyes filled with pity. Nolwazi would only smile, her fingers gripping her water jug tightly. "When the heavens open," she would say, "and the spirits of the ancestors deliver him." But in her heart, she wondered. One evening, as the sun dipped below the mountains, Amandla sat beneath a sprawling tree, watching the sunset paint the sky in gold and crimson. A voice deep and resonant like thunder filled the air. "Amandla," it called. He fell to his knees, trembling. "I will make your descendants as countless as the grains of sand by the river. You will have a son, born of Nolwazi, and through him your lineage will be a blessing to all nations." Amandla's heart swelled, and he rushed home to tell Nolwazi. She laughed, a short but bitter laugh. "We are old, my husband," she said, shaking her head. Maybe the spirits were speaking to someone younger, but Amandla believed. The seasons passed, and the village people whispered, "What kind of man waits for a miracle when he can simply marry another wife?" muttered Bafana, the village elder. "Even the old leopard knows when to leave his barren hunting ground," snickered Nofoto, a widow who sold herbs in the market. Neighbors came to their homestay, sitting around the fire, chewing roasted maize. "Amandla," said Bafana, "take another wife. It is the way of our people. You need an heir." Amandla only shook his head, his eyes steady. "The heavens have promised," he said. "I will wait." They called him stubborn, a fool. Even Nolwazi grew restless. One stormy night, Nolwazi couldn't sleep. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating her lined face as she watched her husband sleep. She loved him, but love didn't silence the ache of longing. The next morning, she made a decision. She summoned her young servant, Liyana, a girl with skin like polished ebony and eyes sharp as a hawk's. "You will give Amandla a child," Nolwazi said, her voice tight. Liyana's eyes widened. "Mama, I cannot." "You will," Nolwazi snapped. "We need a son." When she told Amandla, he resisted. "I cannot betray you," he said, his voice cracking. "You are not betraying me," Nolwazi said, pressing his hands between hers. "You are securing our future." And so, with a heavy heart, Amandla relented. Liyana bore a son, Langa, and the village erupted in celebration. "You see," cried Bafana, slapping Amandla on the back. "The spirits reward actions." But Amandla didn't celebrate. His heart twisted every time he held the child. Something wasn't right. This wasn't the son of the promise. He felt it like an ache in his bones. Nolwazi grew bitter. She saw the distance in Amandla's eyes. "Are you not satisfied?" she snapped. "Here is your heir." Amandla only shook his head. "The heavens are not done," he whispered. The sun scorched the earth like a blasphemous fire, and the air shimmered above the dry grasslands. Amandla sat beneath the old baobab tree, wiping sweat from his brow as he watched his cattle graze. His heart was heavy. Despite the birth of Langa, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Then, in the distance, he saw 3 men approaching. They wore simple robes, but their presence was anything but ordinary. Their steps were light, and they moved as though the sun itself parted to ease their journey. Amandla stood and called to Nolwazi, "Prepare water and mealy bread. We have visitors." The men reached the homestead, their faces serene but unreadable. One, an elder man with a beard streaked with grey, stepped forward and clasped Amandla's shoulder. "Greetings, son of the earth," he said. His voice reached like the rumble of a distant thunder. Amandla bowed deeply. "Welcome to my home. Please, sit in the shade." He hurried to slaughter a young goat, instructing the servants to cook it while Nolwazi ground maize to make pap. She peeked out of the hut, watching the men with narrowed eyes. "Strange travelers," she muttered, kneading the dough. "They do not walk like ordinary men." Amandla brought bowls of food and calabashes of cold water to the visitors. They ate slowly, savoring every bite as though it were a feast. The bearded man wiped his hand on a cloth and looked up, his eyes piercing. "Where is your wife?" he asked. Amandla shifted uncomfortably. "Inside the hut, she is resting." The man's lips coiled into a knowing smile. "Call her out." Nolwazi, who had been eavesdropping by the doorway, stepped outside, brushing flour from her hands. She crossed her arms, eyeing the visitors with suspicion. "I am here," she said, her voice sharp as a blade. The man's gaze softened. "By this time next year, you will hold your son in your arms." Nolwazi snorted, nearly doubling over the laughter. "Me? A child?" She wheezed. "My womb is as dry as the riverbed in drought season." The other two visitors exchanged amused glances but said nothing. The man stood, his presence towering like a mountain. He stepped closer to Nolwazi and placed a hand over her heart. She stiffened but didn't pull away. "The heavens do not forget their promises," he said gently, "even when humans do." His hand felt strangely warm, and Nolwazi shivered despite the heat. The visitors turned and began to walk away, their robes billowing in the breeze. Amandla ran after them. "Wait," he called. "Who are you?" The bearded man turned, his face glowing like embers in the fading light. "We are messengers," he said, "and the promise is near." They disappeared into the horizon, leaving Amandla breathless and Nolwazi clutching her chest, her heart pounding like war drums. That night, neither of them slept. The rains returned, drenching the land in life. Crops grew and the cattle multiplied. And in the heart of Amandla's homestead, Nolwazi gave birth to a son. They named him Issachar, meaning laughter. For Nolwazi had laughed at the promise, and now the promise laughed in her arms. Amandla wept, holding his son high above his head, beneath the baobab tree. "You are the one," he whispered. The village erupted in joy, and even Bafana came to bow before the infant. "The heavens have spoken," he admitted, his old eyes gleaming. Amandla only smiled. "They spoke long ago," he said.